Welcome to the Squad Games Podcast. Squad Games Podcast.
Space Marines got another release. Ultramarines got more things. Did you see that?
They did.
Good for them.
So much for the Year of Chaos, right?
Why
you know
did
what?
the Blood Angels get the worst release of all Space Marines?
It was. Yeah, I didn't really love the new Sanguinary Guard. It was all right.
They're all right, but they don't have
Okay.
wings. They have like little baby wings.
They're like,
Little
you know,
baby wings, decorative wings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to be honest, the worst release of all time is still that custodian baby guy.
No, you're forgetting about
Oh.
the new Codiaz. Codiaz?
Yeah. That's the one.
That's the same guy.
That's the
He's
one,
the baby.
yeah.
The same guy? Oh,
Yeah.
okay, gotcha.
With the baby head.
What's the
Yeah.
opposite
That's
of a
awful.
glow up?
Glow
like-
down.
A glow down. Oh my
Glow
god!
way down.
They turned the lights off on this guy. Like it's.
They sure did.
But his hawk doesn't even look like he wants to be there anymore. He looks like, oh, this guy's a loser.
Exactly. Have you guys consumed any like TV shows or books recently that you guys want to talk about before we dive in?
Nothing.
I
Since
finished Alien Earth.
That was it.
oh,
Started off?
Yeah, that was it.
Nice.
Did you
That's
finish it
fun.
too, Giacomo?
Yeah. You know, as far as it can be done until next season.
Yeah. It was really good until the end, and I thought there was more episodes.
And then
And
you're
I was like-
that's it.
I was like, what do you mean that's it? What if it gets canceled?
I hope it
I'll be
doesn't.
so upset. You know? Pretty big
Good.
cliffhanger for anyone, you know?
Yeah.
Don't get your hopes up too much, you know?
Good for them to I haven't watched the show, but you know, it's always bold to see TV shows be like big cliffhanger, we're getting a second season, send it, you know. Like they know they're cooking. They're like, they'd be crazy not to. And then it's really funny when it's like, nope. Here you don't get a sequel. People are just gonna get stuck on a cliffhanger. But it sounds I think Alien Earth got renewed. I don't know.
It hasn't got renewed yet. We can
Yes.
hope that Disney and Hulu renews it because Predator did so well on Hulu that they got their own animated movie and a new movie coming to theaters in November, which I'm very excited for.
Yeah.
Yes,
But Prey whipped though. That was
Oh.
such a good movie.
It was.
That ruled.
Only one behind Arnold, you know, Arnold and Carl Weathers, you know.
Oh yeah, but like when the feral predator just like hurls that bear trap at that dude and just murks him. Oh, movie magic.
Absolutely.
Gotta love it.
Absolutely. All right. So, welcome to the Squad Games Podcast. I'm your host, Dakotah. This is Giacomo, and this is our guest, Dan. Dan, you
Hi.
write for Goonhammer?
Yes, I write for Goonhammer, the best place for Warhammer on the internet. If you do ask me, but of course I'm biased. We've been around writing about all sorts of tabletop games and other related media for quite a while now. I think they, what was it, 2017, 2016? My Goonhammer overlords are going to kill me for not being ready with the precise history tomes, but they've been writing for quite a while, and we've really picked up some momentum and done some great things with like tabletop battles and Administratum. And I started writing for the website in 2022. Initially, I was going to do some War Machine stuff because I had, some experience as a press ganger back in a previous life. But then, as War Machine tends to do, that self-imploded, and we were like, we're not going to write about War Machine. I'm like, cool, I'm going to write about other stuff.
Amazing.
And I ended up on the Kill Team Beat.
Amazing.
As well as I do the Kill Team Beat, and I also do like the weekly news roundup, which I was talking to Giacomo about a bit. Sometimes you get some really cool news going in there and seeing like, oh, what's going on in tabletop games and board games every week. But most of the time, it's how many layoffs happened this week. Awesome. Oh no. Oh,
Yeah.
the board game industry's falling apart. That sucks. It's not a lot of good news.
So, we have a really interesting episode for everyone today. Dan has never been to one of Squad Games events. For anyone
No.
who's new to the channel, who's watching this on YouTube, or this is your first time listen on our podcast, which you can find on Spotify and Apple, we're going to be talking about how we run events, kind of our thought process behind it. And Dan, as a brand new person, is going to come and ask us a bunch of questions. This is a unique opportunity, as most of the people that me and Giacomo have met have already kind of known who we are, kind of met us, listened to us, or been that kind of stuff, or met us at our events, or heard of us, came to our events, so on and so forth. So Dan's going to ask us a bunch of questions. Some of them are going to be harder than others, but it's all about the Las Vegas Open. This is the second largest event of the year, and in the entire world, and we're running it right now. It's 120 people. Worlds may very well beat us this year. We'll have to see how many players show up to Worlds. But in January, we ran the Las Vegas Open with 169 players, and this year we have 120 players. Quite exciting, and it's a massive undertaking, especially for a small team of 3 and a very small family business. We run, Dan, a little bit about ourselves. We run events all over the West Coast, mostly in the Los Angeles area. And then this year, we're running it twice in October. Luckily, LVO is returning to just once a year, right? October, it looks like the first weekend of October. So next year, if you guys want to join and come see what we're all about, or possibly the best kill team experience you've ever been to, that is our strive here at Squad Games. It's quite fantastic. And I have a couple little things that I made that I would like to show off to everyone, a couple sneak peeks of some products that we made that are going to be pretty limited for LVO.
Ooh, all right.
Yeah.
A little peek behind the curtain, as it were. Yes, very excited to talk about LVO. LVO has been an event I've wanted to go to for like a decade at least. And there came an opportunity with Goonhammer to go to the event and partner with FLG. And I was going to, I've been writing about my experiences and getting
That's how I saw you. I was like, what is this? Who is this guy? Who's writing about this?
It's a guy. It's me. And I've been writing about getting ready for it, deciding on, what team I'm going to bring. Am I going to bring Jaegers? Or am I going to surprise no one and bring Nemesis Claw? Because I'm just a dork, an absolute dork for Chaos. Getting ready for it. And that's how I reached out to you was I was thinking like, oh, wouldn't that be a great collaboration there? Because if I were able to reach out to the folks organizing LVO Kill Team and kind of like pick their brain a little bit. Because like you said, this is not only my first LVO, this is my first LVO Kill Team experience, obviously, right? My first experience with the Squad Games event, and even just, getting a little bit of a surface level, like doing my due diligence research. It's very different from a lot of the other Kill Team events I've been to, right? I went to the Dallas Open back in May, which is, of course, a Games Workshop official event. I've been to a couple of local 1-day tournaments and 2-day tournaments. But, all of those are generally either taking from that Games Workshop, cutting from that same cloth, or taking a couple of bits from you guys over at Squad Games. But like that's the other world. That's the you're either doing a Games Workshop layout, Games Workshop event sort of thing, or you're doing what you guys got over here at Squad Games, and that's going to be doing a lot with LVO. So I'm very excited to talk about it.
Yeah,
and learn a little bit more.
There's a few really decently sized organizers in the United States, right? So you have Games Workshop, who runs amazing events, right? Mm-hmm. You have us, you have Travis and the Brooklyn Rats, who run like the New York Open. Mm-hmm. You have some people in like Six-Sided Legion in Minnesota, Minneapolis, and then there's some people in Florida, and you have some people in Texas, you have some people up north, and you have the Pacific Northwest guys, the Vox Cascadia guys. So we all run things a little bit differently. And that's the best thing about Kill Team, right? In my opinion, is that Games Workshop has suggested a lot of formats and has suggested a lot of things, but they haven't made anything mandatory, right? So a lot of events can kind of push a uniqueness and a reason to come to that event, rather than it just be a copy paste format event from somewhere else, right? So when you're looking to promote an event and push an event out there, to get somebody like yourself to come. You have to say, like, this is why you want to come to my event. This is why you're going to want to spend all this money to come and fly to Las Vegas or to California, Los Angeles, or to New York to go see the Brooklyn Rats, because they each do something different, right? Mm-hmm. And we're blessed enough to have a game system that is unique enough to be able to craft something unique and individual that's not hampered too much by crit ops, right? And we've been doing this for 4 years, right? We just had our 4th birthday in November. I think we went from 7 people in our very first event to 87
wow.
in 1 year, right? That was our very first LVO. We took it over from Sheldon Steer, also known as Kill Team Stream. And, he passed the torch to us because he felt like we could make it a little bit more business-like and we wouldn't lose money running events. Because a lot of times you lose money running events, right? It's just plain and simple, or the goal is to break even, right? We've been blessed enough to have a workshop, and be able to make a lot of product and make things so that we don't go in the red every year, right? And we can either make some money back, or I can at least pay my staff, right? So things are good. The game is amazing. So there's a lot of fun things and really good questions you have for us, Dan, and I'm very excited to answer some of them.
Yeah, I am excited to answer them. So let's start off with a real softball here. Dakotah and Giacomo, what is your favorite kill team and why?
Giacomo, you go first.
Oh, it changes all the time, but right now I think it's still Nemesis Claw, with Deathwatch coming close and getting real close to taking him out.
Welcome to Chaos Door Club.
Oh yeah, man, for sure. I got the red hand on me somewhere, like I'm ready to go. I love elites. I've always loved Space Marines, even as like a 12-year-old boy. When I got my first combat squad of 5 Marines, I painted them horribly like Ultramarines, and the rest is history. And then Kill Team lets me play with them. So yeah. How about you, Dakotah?
Amazing. So Giacomo knows I'm opinionated, that's why I'm a content creator, right? My old favorite team a long time ago was Eldar. Then the edition changed, and then it was Veteran Guard, right? Because they had a very similar play style. Then they completely killed Veteran Guard, completely changed the identity of the team, made me very sad. So Death Corps is no longer my favorite. I've been searching, Dan. I've been searching for a favorite team. I'm in one of those, but I do have an answer. Raveners have been a ton of fun to play, but they're not very fun to play against, I don't think.
I was just at an RTT where I was playing a guy who played against Raveners, and he was talking to me after the game. He was really worried that he was like, I don't know, like, he was worried that Raveners weren't like a fun player experience, right? Because there's so much about Raveners that is like
they can be.
They can be. Yeah. Where it's like, don't play Warhammer. It's something Raveners can do, and I'm like, I've been playing Warhammer 40,000 much longer than I've been playing Kill Team.
Same.
I am well aware of the rule that, hey, the best way to win Warhammer oftentimes is don't play Warhammer. Roll no dice, shed no tears. We'd have
just crack dad jokes, right?
Just crack dad jokes, and then you have one guy with blown op on an objective. Lieutenant sits on balls, and that get points, win the game, stand on circles. So I understand that, like, because I'd had that experience with, hey, they might not interact with you, and that would be how they would win the game. I wasn't like super surprised by it, but I could absolutely see somebody who's maybe a little bit newer to the game being like, oh yeah, it's Raveners, it's Tyranids, they got these big old claws, and they look scary, and they're going to fight me. And a Raveners player being like, oh, no, I don't. That's not what we do here.
Half the time, I'm not even on the board.
I'm in Tunnel Land. Yeah, why would I want to fight you? So I do get that. I do get that worry of maybe they aren't fun to play against.
Yeah, so I think that my favorite time playing against people is still using Death Corps and using my hero models. So I have a bunch of like action heroes, like 1980s action heroes. So I have like, I have Ripley and I have all the 80s action heroes like Steven Seagal and all these kind of like guys that, they're just expendables. You just run around and have them all die. But right now, my favorite team is Blades of Cain. I think that Blades of Cain are a lot of fun. They break your brain, which is also not that fun. So I just usually play a mono faction like Scorpions or something like that. And I was actually going to go to Nova and bring Blades of Cain, but that didn't end up working out. But that's what I was going to do. So, in fact, if anyone's familiar with the podcast or not familiar with the podcast, we have some dice mats, some 3-up saves. We got to bring back the 3-up saves for Striking Scorpions. These will be at LVO. And same with, we have our old logo from year 1 and our year 1 logo as well. So these will all be pretty limited edition at LVO. Neat. So they're pretty cool. Some cool stuff. Those are the nice little things. But to answer your question, Dan, in the longest way possible, Blades of Cain.
Blades of Cain. Gotta love elves. And I honestly look at mono banshees and I'm like, that is a respectable way to play kill team. Just run right at you. I
have 14,000 points of Eldar plus all the new models that I bought for this past release. So I haven't recalculated points.
So you've got 8 Howling Banshees in there somewhere.
Oh yeah,
you've got an Exarch with something. Whatever.
I have 30 Howling Banshees, 30 Striking Scorpions, and 30 Fire Dragons, and I have a problem.
That'd be wild if they ever did Fire Dragons in kill team. Could you imagine?
all melted? A whole melted team? Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Goodbye, Death Watch.
So how did both of y'all get introduced into kill team?
So one time I was doing security guard. If anyone wants to hear my security stories, we have a podcast on our Patreon where I talk about our nightlife fiascos back in the day when I used to be a security guard in North Hollywood. But I had a friend, his name was Eric, and he didn't want to play Warhammer, right? He wanted to play Kill Team. I've been playing Warhammer since the year 2000, and he wanted to play some Kill Team. I haven't played Warhammer in a while, so I was like, all right, let's get into Kill Team. Started playing some Kill Team and convinced my wife to go to the Las Vegas Open in 2020. I believe that was COVID year.
Oh yeah, because that was back. LVO was in January then, so it was right before.
I'm pretty sure we all caught COVID at that event, and none of us they said it came to the America, the COVID came to America a month later in February. But I'm pretty sure we got so sick from LVO. It was one of the worst sicknesses I've ever had.
Hell of a con flu.
It was pretty bad. But yeah, so that's kind of where I got introduced. And then it was about 2 years from there is when Squad Games took over that LVO. So it was about a year and a half in the making of us forming Squad Games and kind of going from there. Giacomo, how'd you get introduced?
So originally we played Heralds of Ruin. And then we played Shadow War Armageddon, I think is what the book was called.
Oh, I think I've got that book.
Oh, wow.
Actually here.
I think it's somewhere.
Hey. I didn't have that prepared. I just happened to, happened to be there.
I remember buying that book, and the store owner said, "Are you sure you want to get this?" Which was implied that Kill Team was going to come out, which then it very much did the next month. But, he tried to warn me without telling me. Anyway, so we played that for a while, and then Dakotah started doing these Sunday kind of meetups in Santa Clarita, where we were at. And we would show up to that, just to play with our extra models. We didn't want to make an army of, but we wanted to own a few more. And so, I've always loved skirmish games. It's a little faster, in my opinion. Not time-wise, but in order to finish a team is faster than finishing an army. So I like it. I feel like there's a little more in individuality when you play in smaller scales. And that's kind of where we started, or at least I started. And then, the rest he's already told us, and that's where we're at now.
Yeah. I mean, I think my real introduction for doing, I'd done a little bit of skirmish games before Kill Team, but I had a good Necromunda run for a while and talk about a game where it's really individual and there's just so much character. Hello, kitty cat. Hi. The podcast will love that. That's a very just like I had a like a psychotic break right in the middle. No, but that is absolutely a game where there's so much character and so much individuality, even for just the regular bozos in a gang, and so much silly shit can happen in Necromunda. Where one of my things I really like about Kill Team is how often it breaks down into slapstick comedy. But Necromunda, that slapstick comedy is load bearing. I've had guys get like swept into sewers. And what are you going to do when it's like, oh, this is my super cool Ganger champion. And there they go. Yep. They didn't jump over that sewage hole fast enough. And whoop,
they're dead. Won't see
them again. It's very silly. It's a fun little game that I have fond feelings for. So, looking over the player packet, right before this, this clearly isn't your first rodeo of running events. We talked about that a little bit with squad games. You guys started at 7, and you've expanded from there. How long you've been running events for tabletop games in general, or has that all been within squad games? In your time with that, or maybe before you got the channel going, and what are some of the biggest lessons that y'all have learned along the way as organizers for tabletop events?
You want to start, G?
Yeah. Let's see. I guess I'll start with lessons learned. People generally like a good environment, so we try to nurture more, what's the word? Sportsmanship than anything else. I think winning is third to sportsmanship, because it's more fun to just keep going to events where everyone is generally pleasant to be around, because you're paying money for this, right? So like part of this is going to cost you. Oh, there's the cat. Part of this is going to cost you, some time and money investment. So like you want to have the best experience you can. I'm just going to put her down here because she does that. I set no boundaries. So so that's one of the biggest lessons I've learned is catering, just nurturing a more sportsman-like player base. They seem to really, really enjoy that. And, to be good about taking care of any issues and trying not to make it too much of a big deal. We're all human. Sometimes it's going to happen. It's not the end of the world. Yeah. So I never ran a tournament until we started Kill Team events back, but I did play a lot of D&D. I DM'd a campaign, multiple campaigns for about 10 years before I started doing this. And it's interesting because I find a lot of similarities between Dungeons and Dragons and running events. If you are a DM, I find that you're just kind of DMing for a very large audience, right? And what creates a really healthy player environment at a table will also create the same at an event, right? So bringing a lot of I'm also a communications major in public relations, so with a bachelor's. So there's like communicating is like topmost and key, right? So if you're able to communicate a lot of these things to players and kind of start okay, this is difficult. This is a very difficult question because me and Giacomo started squad games outside of Sheldon because we were so sick of going to events and them being ran so poorly. For instance, we would go to Warhammer team events and they would have unpainted foam terrain. We would go to the FLG's LTT quite a few years ago. And we won a Renaissance Award for 5 players and they gave us 1 cup, like
And I was like, how are we all supposed to take something home? Should we shatter it on the ground and each take a little piece?
Brotherhood of the traveling cup.
We were infuriated. And in fact, I had a laser at home. I was like, no, I can just make this. I don't even want it. So we just gave it to this guy and he just drinks out of it every night.
He was on our team, if that helps.
Yeah, he was on our team. He was
Didn't throw it out the window.
Yeah. So like we started Kill Team Squad Games out of necessity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we needed to start practicing for the Las Vegas Open. So we started at these smaller events and really pushed something called the All Valley Team Tournament, which is one of the largest team events in the United States and in the world. In fact, we held that for 3 years until Spain. I think WTC crushed us this year. I think that had nearly 100 players in their team event. And we had like, I think 69 or something like that at this past, I know it's a great number, at our most recent team event, right? And that's not including FLG. That's just purely homegrown and us. But going back to D&D, what creates a stable environment for a group of friends sitting around a table? And sportsmanship, right? And the temperament of that, not everyone is the person who's going to walk away the main character, right? Everyone's going to get their shining moment. And at Squad Games events, we really try to emphasize the atmosphere of the event before anything else. So you're going to come in and you're going to see wonderfully painted armies because we've pushed the hobby for 4 years. We have a showcase. We have other things because when you come to a Squad Games event, we want you to feel like you are in this world. You paid money to come here. We want you to have a good time, right? And then I have a speech about don't be a dick, right? It's pretty simple, and every year something happens and somebody's an asshole and we have to and I have to be an asshole then. I don't want to be an asshole.
You gotta tap the sign.
Yeah. Generally I'm a nice guy, until you do things that are, grossly, poor. And that we had one LVO where everything went super smooth, right? Which was amazing. And then every LVO, I'm a perfectionist. So I look at small failures here and there as massive failures. And no one else behind the scenes will ever know it, right? So it's because of that, and it's because of our strive to be so good and push our events to that next level that I feel drives people that want to come from so far away to attend those events.
Oh yeah, that almost sounds like what I was telling my wife after we got married was like it was the perfect day except for everything that went wrong, right? That as somebody who does work with a lot of tournaments here with my local game store in 40K, I definitely understand that like you can run a great event where people have a wonderful time and they tell you everything that they really enjoy, but you're like, but this wasn't good enough. We could turn, the screws on this. What if the terrain was better? I could have handled this interaction between players and that dispute differently. And that drives improvement. That really drives the best of us is when we say we could get that a little bit tighter. We could turn that wheel a little bit more instead of, kicking up our heels and being like, yep, nailed it. No notes. That's the worst thing you can have is no notes.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I want to piggybacking off of the creating your own worlds. One of the things that was really interesting to me looking into it was you guys have a narrative. Tell me more about what your Kill Team narrative is going to look like, or at least as much as you can without spoiling, any big surprises you might have in store. Because right now, Kill Team doesn't have a bespoke narrative system like Age of Sigmar or 40K might.
This is actually probably the best narrative has ever been for Kill Team. And people may vehemently disagree with me. Since the narrative system is completely undefined, we have the ability to finally branch out and create something new. create something that is better than something that Games Workshop has been putting out, right? It's just like, oh, here's these extra rules and here's all this bookkeeping and blah, 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 blah. And some of the people love that, right? But I'm a big fan of KISS, keep it simple, stupid, right? I did not do that this time. But I am a fan of it.
I like the idea.
I try, you know? So we have our first 2 years, they're in a place called Sector Aterum, right? And we ran 2 events. Our first year, we had about, I think, 12 players with a bunch of custom and kind of rule of cool terrain, right? Last year, we had more of that. And we introduced like NPOs and all that kind of stuff. And it was actually adversary ops before adversary ops were even out, right? And we had some negative feedback on some of that because I kind of viewed narrative as just, hey, it's just narrative, you know, just people are there to have fun. But there was a lot of competitive people there. So we took our licks and we tried to make it better. And then this year we created a 40-page packet in order to like, I've been working on this since frickin' May, you know, and putting every single like thing I can behind it. Let's see if I can. Okay. Well, sorry. It's just going to be me here, guys. Okay. So this is the Squad Games narrative. Let's see if I can zoom out a tad.
There you go.
Nice.
Okay.
At this point, I would call it maybe an expansion rule set.
Yeah, it kind of is. It kind of
40 pages is more than a packet.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. So we have the Squad Games. This is the Repentance Station. What we were looking to do, right? We were looking to make... So I've been very inspired by Aliens. I've been very inspired by Space Hulk. And we also have created our own terrain line, right? That helps us maintain the lights here at Squad Games and stuff like that by selling these kinds of things. So we have our own terrain, our own mats. Everything is literally built from scratch. There isn't like a single thing that Games Workshop has put out, except we even have our own objectives. I mean, not objectives and our own equipment packs, right? So for instance, the table of contents, right? We have the rules, artwork, thank you. It's sponsored by the brushes that I designed here in LA, Highlander Hobbies. And the Claymore series. So if you guys want to help support the channel, go grab a set. So this is a little bit about adversary ops and kind of like some of the things that we've copied and pasted from Games Workshop and changed a little bit here and there to try and make things work a little bit better for us. This will be available soon enough. I'm not going to get into the missions. I'll probably show off mission 1 and then leave the rest of them open. We also, I'll tell you in a second. So we have some swarm rules. We've created new rules about like, I really wanted to make a Tyranid swarm, right? That really focused on less. There's nothing worse in a D&D combat, right? Than having like 30 monsters that you have to activate, right? So how can we make those better for players, and players have to do that for the entire event? Well, we created swarm bases so we can have 3 gaunts on a base. Now they have 21 wounds and they have upgraded profiles and stuff like that. And there's still only 4 activations for bad guys. Awesome. That's way better than 12 activations if you ask me, right?
Yeah.
So,
way better.
Yeah. So, you know, we have swarm bases, we have some terrain, custom terrain that we have. So these are going to be windows for they're big acrylic windows that we have for this particular event. We have these energy doors and rules for them where the energy doors keep out space, right? So there's energy hatchway fighting or energy door fighting. Very cool stuff. We have a thing called narrative directives. Let's see if I can back out just a tad again. So narrative directives are kind of like your secondary tac ops.
Right.
So you play the game and you either win or lose the game, and your models, if they die from Tyranids, they get an infection token. At the end of the game, you have to roll a dice. You roll a 6, your model becomes infected. Space Marines and Necrons can't be infected because they're cool, you know? But everyone else can get infected. If all of your models get infected, they will join the hive mind and you will leave your team for a different team, right? Because this is a team event. There's 4 different teams. Your narrative directive is how you win the event, right? So it's a secondary tac op that's difficult to do. So you could essentially lose every battle and still win the event because you're focusing on your narrative directives. But if you do that, you have a chance of falling to the hive mind because the only way to really heal your models is by actually winning games. So if your models continue to die, right, there's this like this push and pull of how hard you want to go for narrative directives to how hard you want to try and win the battles. We have a little bit more. Go back to this. We have victory and defeat effects, which is what I just explained. Mission outcome effects. So every single mission, all 9 missions, if you win the mission, you get a bonus to your team, and if you lose, you get a negative to your team, which will show off on map 1. And then we have a little bit about the Repentant Station and what we did for it. We have 84 custom cards that we've made for this entire event. 13 unique Tyranid NPOs that we've designed. 140 painted Tyranids that we did. It was an actual nightmare, a literal nightmare. It's a team-based narrative, so you can like get together with a couple friends and run it. You don't have to get any of this extra stuff. This will be free, right? If you want to help support us, we do have a custom, some custom equipment pack, which comes with 13 custom equipment cards, 11 tokens, 6 custom acrylic and MDF equipment options, and 2 Squad Games ladders. Essentially what those are is they're like replacements for, you can use them in place of your heavy barricades, your light barricades, your razor wire, and ladders, right? So if you want to just use them for competitive, that's cool too, you know? But if you want to use our stuff that we design and the rules for it, like we have something called laser wire, the exact same dimensions as barbed wire, except when you go through it, right, you get -1 APL.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. That's very different.
Yeah, so our light energy barricades are, you can just move through the energy barricades. You don't have to climb them, but they still offer light cover. Our heavy barricades are, which I have all of the equipment somewhere. I have no idea where they are currently. But then I have a little barricade, a heavy barricade that has the Bard keyword. So it has a little hole in the center. So that's great for like Ratlings or Jaegers or something like that. And if you want to play against your friend and use some custom terrain or Xenos grenades, right? We have Halo sticky grenades and stick bomb grenades that I put in there, which function differently. It's very cool, very fun stuff, and they're on a very nice card stock. They're pretty awesome. They're pretty awesome. We'll probably do a bigger video about all that kind of stuff more later. But we here at Squad Games, I'm trying to innovate more so and be creative about making products that people might want rather than just coming out with a new measurement gauge or a new this or a new token or this or that. Like I want to create stuff that people want to use and people want to play, right? Because ultimately I'm an artist, right? And as you can see, there's like, I put a bunch of work into this packet too. Moving on quickly to the teams, right? We have the Harvesters team, which has if you're a part of them, you're kind of like trying to, you're trying to like, you get hired by the Baroness, who is my wife, at this particular event. Okay?
Good for her.
Yeah, she is the Baroness. Right? And you are trying to create a bioweapon pretty much against the Tyranids, okay? The Marauders are being, the head of them is being played by Robert. Robert's going to be an Inquisitor. And in fact, I made the mask, which is really cool, and we have a whole costume for him as well, but he's an Inquisitor. He's for Sentinels. I apologize. My wife is also the head of the Marauders. The Marauders are just
Also
there to
good
kill.
for her.
Yeah, just kill everyone. Just kill everyone, right? Robert is the head of Sentinels. They want to blow up the ship. They want to get rid of the Repentant Station. It's a big Galadark ship. They're trying to get rid of it. They know the Tyranids are awful, right? The Marauders are there to kill the Queen and everyone else. And then finally, we have the Hive Mind, who are the bad guys, right? You can join the team, right? If you fall to them, or if you want to play Raveners or Tyranids or Brood Brothers or Wormblade or something like that, you can start automatically on the bad guys team and try to convince people to come to your side. And I think the most wonderful thing about this narrative, right, is the outside of gameplay, where it's like, oh my gosh, that guy has 10, or like our friend has 10 models that have been infected, just like 2 more models infected, and he's going to join the Hive Mind. Maybe we start to push him out and not talk to him as much, you know?
Yeah, he doesn't get invited to lunch.
Yeah, start. I'm really hoping that we can start to see a little bit more role-playing aspects happen, not just in-game, but outside of game too, with these teams, because the best way to play Kill Team is a team event outside of singles, right? It's 100% a team event. And then finally, we'll show off Mission 1 here. And then, sorry for the very long explanation.
Oh no, it's awesome. I'm very interested. It sounds super cool.
Yeah, so we have the Med Lab. This is kind of where it all started, right? We have a new crit op, which is called Brood Sector, right? Which is you have to destroy ovomorphs, which are little Tyranid eggs. I have a whole trophy for the person who destroys the most ovomorphs in the entire thing. Essentially, it's like loot, but there's 12 loot markers, right? Pretty cool. So you have to go over, and every time you pop an egg, you get infected. So you might want to just keep doing it with the same guy so you get less infected. Some kind of tactics going on there. If you're a bad guy, if you're the Hive Mind, however many eggs are left is how many points you score, right? Pretty cool. There's a gas leak in the main room, so you get -1 APL. Not -1 APL, -1 to move anytime you're in the main room, but you can shut it off by doing a 1 AP action on one of the gas pipes, which we'll show off in a second. And then we also have, the mission outcomes. So if I can zoom in here, we have medical supplies. So you may heal one model from the Kovacs infection. So if somebody gets infected, you may heal somebody. And if you are defeated, all of your warrior operatives that you use in your next mission, which might be 0, start with an infection token. So it kind of removes the reason to start that in the first place. And then finally, the map here. We have the Repentant Med Lab. We have a bunch of Ripper Swarms in here. There's 6 Ripper Swarms that start in here with a bunch of custom 3D printed terrain and a bunch of overmorphs that you have to go through and you have to destroy, right? And then I do want to show off one more map. I'm not going to show you off what Mission 2 is, but I'm going to show the map because there is something that I call the Void, which is just space, you know? I think this is what Beta Decima always should have been, right? We shouldn't have had some weird, the ocean and fog. Whoa, what?
Real video game logic where you can't swim.
Exactly. So we have Mission 2 is the SS Saya, which we have a giant spaceship here. And we have 2 airlocks that players start in, and then they can go into this big old viewing bay with a bunch of windows, or they can go out into outer space, and there's a bunch of gene stealers on this map that you have to contend with. So there are some really cool and fun things that we're planning for this year's LVO. Next year, we probably are going to do something with Necrons because of Tomb World and a bunch of other stuff. But this one's going to be a ton of fun.
That sounds awesome. It sounds like I love going to narrative events. I've been to a couple of narrative events with a Goonhammer, and they just build such great stories. And it's stories with your friends too. It's getting around and being, like the role playing aspect of like Mission 3. So and so happened. You guys are talking about it forever. It's just a great way to get immersed and have a good time with your buddies. So it sounds like the narrative people are getting spoiled. The competitive folks, there's a lot of them. They're playing over there, but the narrative folks, here,
Yeah.
here is your amazing event that we got going on here. But it sounds like we got some really cool stuff going on with the competitive side too.
We do.
Which the big thing that is, the Squad Games brand, from what I understood, are the layouts, the mission map layouts. So what was the impetus for you guys to break away and start designing your own, not only map layouts, but also like terrain for those maps?
So you ask a very interesting question. And so back in the day, Games Workshop did not have layouts. We had to come up with our own. Mm-hmm. And we always have had to come up with our own. So back in the last edition, Games Workshop did not have official maps. We had some official, ITD maps that were kind of that, but people got so annoyed with them because they were symmetrical when every game developer said you should be playing asymmetrical, right? And everyone was too scared to break the mold and go out and make something better. I think Games Workshop has a lot on their plate. I think that they make a wonderful game. I have not been impressed with a lot of their map designs or map choices. Volcus was pretty good. I think Tomb World's pretty good, right? I do not like this iteration of Volcus layouts. In particular, what is this, Crit Ops 2025? I think there's probably 2 competitive maps. But essentially, last edition, I had to sit down and focus on what is a good map? What makes a fun map? What is a map that is, my whole brand is making maps, right? What is a map that's not going to be wide open in the middle and just let Pathfinders win? What's not going to be too condensed in the middle and just let Felgor win, right? You kind of have this whole map design process that has come from the last edition and this edition. And I think a lot of people that are from the old edition really think it's crazy how much heavy terrain Volcus has, right? It's insane. Volcus has more heavy terrain than Gallodark did, and Gallodark last edition was considered almost too much heavy, right? And now everyone's come around to this, and then when Crit Ops were released, everyone just started playing Games Workshop maps, right? Have you ever played Games Workshop's original ITD maps?
No, I got in to Kill Team with the 3rd edition, so I never played those original maps.
Have you played these maps?
The one
from Crit Ops. Crit Ops?
Yeah, yes.
And
I played these ones. Yeah, the empty hallways.
And how do you enjoy empty hallways?
With or without light barricades?
Ain't that the truth?
That is the truth. That is the truth. So, essentially, I developed the very first asymmetrical map pack that was really well received throughout the entire world. Spain was doing content on it. People in Britain were doing content on it. Everyone really enjoyed it. And to get there, it took about 4 or 5 iterations of that pack in order for me to publish it, because it was so much learning. There was so much things and small little ideas that you had to really do to understand what makes a good Into the Dark layout, right? Because there is no terrain. And in fact, I do not like Tomb World because there's terrain. I can get more into that in a second.
Yeah, that's a hot take.
Tomb World is a perfect terrain system, but they included light terrain because, in my opinion, it's too difficult and it takes too much time to understand how to make a good layout without light terrain. There is too much terrain in Tomb World, and it makes melee teams too strong, in my opinion. Like Felgor and these other melee teams, they can just hide behind all this light terrain. It's so crazy that they got rid of the scouting step, which I found extremely toxic, where everyone just took an extra piece of equipment
Mhm.
And then they're like, oh, here's Tomb World. You don't have to take terrain, right? I love the fact that in Gallowdark right now, the perfect thing about Gallowdark is that you cannot take the optimal loadout for your team's faction equipments because sometimes you have to take equipment. And that is so much more interesting and strategic than there's such a better asymmetrical value to original Gallowdark currently because you are forced to take equipment in Gallowdark compared to this. I'm just going to take Bioscruffs, all the Death Watch things, and you're like, all right, I'm good,
Yep.
and then it's like, oh no, I can't take crack grenades or I can't take smoke grenades. I have to take light barricades or I have to take a heavy barricade. I have to, right? And that's so much more interesting and validating to not only team decisions, what team to bring. If you bring Pathfinders, you better damn be sure people are bringing light barricades or heavy barricades against you. Better damn be sure, And that makes it so much more interesting than just hey, everything is safe. They did the same thing in Volcus. Everything is safe. There's light maps in the past used to be dangerous, right? I produced this Volcus map pack, which I got pushback from people that are relatively known in the kill team sphere because they hated a couple things, which I'd love to talk about. I love the fact that I added a couple objectives that are not safe. They're just in the open, in the middle of the battlefield, right? And they're just like, oh my gosh, I can't hide behind heavy terrain on Volcus. What am I doing? What's going on? I have to take terrain on this map? What? I can't take this. And it's like, yes, that is such a much more interesting. My map design philosophy for Volcus after playing it for a year is I think it's more interesting when you have some maps that are shooty orientated that you have to take terrain on and some maps that you don't have to take terrain on, right? We have 20 maps for Volcus itself. We have 13 new maps for the new Gallowdark maps. We kept our old ones, and then some of the old ones I transferred into Tomb World. So I added some light terrain and some teleporters. And then I created a couple brand new ones. I also created some brand new Tomb World layouts with Gallowdark. Because I don't know about you guys, but I own 32 sets of Gallowdark, right? I own 5 sets of Tomb World. I'm not going to be able to transfer at events to Tomb World nearly as quickly as everyone else, right?
Right.
But I think there's such an interesting thing that we can do as a community that Games Workshop doesn't have to force us to do. We can find, as a community, we can find the best way to play the game and do that rather than have to play. And not even in Games Workshop's packets, they say, do you have to? In fact, I think they updated it and say they encourage people to make their own maps, which we have, right? And if you guys like them or hate them, you can let us know,
Please.
Would you like to look at a couple of them, Dan?
Yeah, I would love to. I would love to look at a couple of these maps and let's break them down. Your thought process behind designing them.
Yeah. So this is one of the first ones. These are all on. So this is the Gallowdark map pack. This is the Giacomo. You might have to cut part of this, for the podcast.
For those listening, this is a quick description of map packs, so you can skip a little bit ahead. Just hit the 10-second skip button.
Imagine it in your brain.
Nah, you don't have to skip. I'll do that for you. But if you want to see the maps and all the other parts, you can check it out on our YouTube channel. That's Squad Games Entertainment, to see all the maps that are featured in this episode. Now back to the show.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the part of me that appreciates, a more balanced game design and more interesting maps and all those things absolutely agrees with you. The little chaos goblin inside me says, let's hit the brakes here.
That's fair.
I really like these elite melee favorite teams with my elite melee team. What's wrong with that? But of course, the part of me that wants more than just me to have fun really likes that. That I might have to have an errant passing thought when I look at some of these and think, "Ooh, how is my team that's been normally so comfortable playing on Volcus going to deal with a Volcus map that they might not be as comfortable on?" And what decisions am I going to make? What selections am I going to make? Am I going to have to take 2 gunners? Am I going to have to play cagey if I can't get to my opponent? Again, great decisions that happened before I've even started to put models on the board, which is awesome, which is great. It's very exciting, and not something we're getting a lot with the current approved ops. There is that a little bit, right? But not nearly as much as with what y'all are able to do here at Squad Games, where you can get really, really wild and
But
really creative.
I think that's the best part about what Games Workshop is kind of allowing us as creators to do, right? Like we can really come together as communities and say like, hey, this is an awesome way to play. If you also want to go and play on the most normal maps too, like there are events out there that are just going to run GW stuff too, you know? And I think that that's a great place for the community to be,
Yeah, nobody's going to hunt you down from Games Workshop and say, you play a community map, give me all your models, you're banned forever.
They encourage this kind of stuff, I'm sure that they might also learn from some other map design processes that other people do as well, or they don't, and they just do what they do.
I hope they watch. I hope they're taking notes. I don't know. I don't get to understand the ways of Games Workshop. I don't know if any of us truly do.
So the number one thing that I always got, right? The reason why I went so hard on so many maps, I kept having people come up to me and saying like, hey, I've already played on this Volcus map. Hey, I've already played on this map. Hey, I don't care. Like, go play again. Like it is what it is. There's only 6 variations of the map, right? Now with 20, right, we can have one of each map at this event. So you're way less likely to ever repeat the same map, which is good and bad, right? But it is going to kind of push this thing of like, when you go to these events, you're going to have fun because you're going to do something different, right? And that's kind of like what we want to strive for, right? Competitiveness is a key thing at Squad Games. We have one of the biggest events in the world, specifically because we do focus on competitive so much, but we want players to have fun. We want players to come back, right? Dan, I don't want this to be your first and last time coming to Las Vegas Open. I want to see you again.
Every
you know what I mean? So like my goal as an organizer isn't for you to have fun. It's for you to come back or want to come back and play again, right? I have a much different mindset as an organizer than I would say like people that are just like doing it for the first time. Like, why do you want to do? I just want to have my friends to have fun. Okay, that's cool. It's the most based answer out there. Like what is like, I want to throw the most competitive in. I want to do this. Ours is to have people go back so that we can continue to grow and be better.
Yes.
Yeah.
And obviously, if people hate certain of these maps, we might just change them mid event and just be like, okay, well, we'll just go to number 2.
Yeah. Stick and move. It's tricky as well because fun is so different for so many people.
Agreed.
And inherently, it's not going back to like the Dungeons and Dragons metaphor. As a DM, you can guarantee everybody at that table has fun. You might not be the main character every session, but you might have a moment. Characters might have a moment. They might get to have things where they get to do cool stuff or have a supporting bit. But in every game of Warhammer, most games of Warhammer, someone's going to lose, right? So how do you make losing as enjoyable a process as possible, right? You can't, at the end of the day, how someone takes losing and how much fun they have losing that's a personal responsibility, right? Not to throw down your toys and have a tantrum. But you don't want somebody to be like, golly, that was a slog, for reasons that might not necessarily be their fault, like not having a good judging, not having good terrain, not having a real clear plan for how that event's going to go. And people are, losing engagement before the event's even over. And that's how, people don't want to come back, is when they don't feel engaged. Because like only one person is going to win the whole event, so how do the other 119 people say, that rocked, I want to go back? Especially when you start getting the folks who don't have winning records. So how do I want to go back?
So a lot of things
a
lot of things that we do is we focus on hobby, right? So that touches a whole different player base. We also focus on faction awards. We also focus on sportsmanship, and things that we do for sportsmanship is like, if you are a great sport, you get to come back next year for free. So like the thing is like we try to push that and make sure that people are having fun, right? Because like one of the things that we've been doing is we've been giving out free LVO tickets to people who are the best sports at some of our events, and that ensures that not only are you going to fight the best players at Las Vegas, you're also going to meet the best people at Las Vegas. Right. And it's just this philosophy of like, Dan, this game is so competitive. It is Games Workshop's most competitive game out there. Right. We don't, as organizers, we don't have to focus on making this game any more competitive. We just got to make sure that people are there having fun and just playing the best that they can, and that itself is going to be competitive, right? If we push the hobby and we say like, look at all these beautiful models, right? Let's put a show on, right? That's something that me and Giacomo really try to do, right? We've been featured in Warhammer Community a couple times for our paint jobs. And like, I've been painting and Giacomo's been painting for nearly just as long. We really enjoy that aspect, and I think it just adds so much to the atmosphere.
Yeah, and I think it's so important too, because like there is, fortunately, I think smaller and smaller group of the Warhammer like larger player base, the vehemently anti-competitive crowd, right? Like, competitive Warhammer as a concept, as a mere idea, is ruining the idea of Warhammer. It is a fun at all costs. If you ever take it anything more than just casual play, then you're a tryhard and you're ruining everyone's good time. And like, if you just want to engage with Warhammer in a casual way, great, good for you, happy for you. But I have had so much fun at events. I've met so many great people at events. I've made so many great memories at events that when I meet newer players at any of the games I've played, I've really tried to encourage them to go to events, whether it is, big GTs or your local RTT. One, it's guaranteed games, right? Especially if you're, living it's a busy world. Hey, take your Saturday. Here's 3 games of Warhammer, a game you ostensibly like. You're playing it, and just have a good time. But like, it's the friends you make along the way. The memories you make, the things you do. It is so much more welcoming than people who are newer can assume it is, because I get that it's intimidating. Nobody wants to be like, am I just showing up to the shark den and I'm going to get my teeth kicked in. I mean, maybe some RTTs are like little one days or very soft, and it's a lot of people who are newer and hanging out. And then sometimes you show up to a game store where it's like, oh, this is the store all the best people in the state go to. Great. But those game stores can still be awesome. They can still have that kind of community that makes people want to come back and play. And having that attitude towards event organizing and running, I think, is why Warhammer is continuing to grow and grow and grow. These events are growing and growing. Is building that community, building those memories, and all of the awesome stuff that comes with it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Just a couple more questions here. So how do we feel about the new approved ops for a lot of these map layouts?
The map layouts or the TAC ops?
Oh, yeah, I mean the TAC ops that we're looking at. So those new TAC ops, those new crit ops.
Giacomo, you start with this because I have been harassed by our Discord for some time on rules.
Okay, besides eventual FAQs that they're going to have to fix.
Yeah.
I think this way of playing it, and now that I've played it a few times, scoring lower points is a little nicer. So you can't just absolutely dominate your opponent, where then it's just like, here's 24 points, you got
bacon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's not like as easy choices because some TAC ops don't necessarily work with the crit up. So I got to pick one. Maybe I take a few points from the TAC up and do the rest crit up. And that's what you get. So I think that again adds for a more tactical feel. Now there are some crit ups that I don't love, and there's some TAC ups I absolutely despise. And there's nothing you can do about it. That's what you got. Overall, there is some clear winners in terms of archetypes, but every archetype has a decent choice depending on your type, whether you're elite or whether you're more of a horde team. You have the options to do it, and the crit up, there's some that favor one or the other, so it's decent. I would probably give this like a 7 out of 10. It's playable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's playable.
Yeah.
Quick rundown for me. I think there's a lot of questions that need to be answered, right? Especially about like dominate and a few others of like how are models killed, when are they killed, who scores the point, do burns work, do poison work. I've made an FAQ about what I think about the game. If you guys want to see that, the FAQ will be linked below. It's what we will be using at the Las Vegas Open.
Mm-hmm.
We very well may be wrong. I'm a habitual league player, right? So I believe that burn damage and poison damage should go to the model who killed you, not just you lose a dominate token because burn killed them instead of a model.
Right.
And then there's a lot of other things of like mines. What if I increase the mines? Blah, 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 blah. There's a lot of TAC ops that need more FAQs. Martyr needs FAQs with expendable models, right? There's a lot of stuff in there that has its issues. I think overall it's better because a lot of the TAC ops are harder to score. I don't know if I like how hard all of them are, but I do like the direction that everything's not just like Corsairs are really good because I just score 6 on plant bacon no matter what.
Right, you can't stop me.
Yeah, you can't stop it, right? I do like that things are more difficult. And I think it just changes up the meta so much from something that was already so stale. And I think that's one of the reasons why I was so excited that this came out before LVO is because, we get to see a brand new meta. We are the first people to experience at the biggest event, one of the biggest events in the world, right? We can't beat ourselves from January.
Yeah.
Can't beat 169.
Dang.
So
nice.
But like we get to experience something and we don't know who's going to win. We don't know what team is going to win. I know the LGT just happened and Wormblade won the whole thing with Dan Barton, right?
All right. Wow.
Yeah. I think him and Kenny Roller Crit were battling for first and he was playing Canoptic. And I think Deathwatch and Wormblade were first. So we're already seeing something that is completely different, right? But also the crit ops are all really decent this time around, except for Reboot and Energy Cells. I hate them. I do think that if you're going to play Orb, do not play it first in an event. I don't think that a brand new player would enjoy scoring 0 points against a brand new, like against a Horde player who's been playing a long time.
Yeah.
I think it's generally like all of my rulings are all player based, right? All of my feelings are typically player based. How am I going to get people to come back to my events, right? So, all of my thoughts and feelings stem around that one thing. Is I try to FAQ things for the player base rather than anything else. So I think Orb is a good, fun, but maybe make it your last, rather than let people warm up into it, because points denial is not fun. I don't think anyone's ever played Call of Duty, got shut out and got 0 kills, and it's not like wanted to throw their controller at the computer, right? Or you've never played League of Legends and just got like shoved under your turret the entire time and had a fun time, right? No one enjoys that. No one likes point denial team. Everyone likes to score points. Everyone likes to do things. It's one of the reasons why I dislike Kill Op. I was really hoping that they would change that. The initiative system, Giacomo, why don't you go over the initiative system real quick? And then I will say we'll probably have the same thing.
Okay, now that I've played more games, I've had the initiative system come in handy once.
Yeah.
Once. Now, I don't think that's a bad thing, because I didn't feel that inspired with scouting steps. It was very much dash or you took an equipment. No one ever did that one. Like, I guess if you wanted to beat your opponent out, maybe. But I like where you do, like Dakotah had mentioned earlier, where you do have to decide what equipments to take, because I'm not just going to take the best stuff every time now. Like, I don't always get that option with every team. So it is nice. That's another just thing to think about when you're looking at a map. But the new system that they have, I feel like it's, how do I really decide it? It's going to come around, like I mentioned, just like once every blue moon, and it'll matter then. But otherwise, you don't really need it. And I don't know if that is the best one they could have made, but probably the one they definitely decided on, especially with how initiative and rolling the loser on the next turn works. So if this is where they're going, they've definitely nailed their thing of just being like, it's not really that important just yet. Like, it'll come in handy every now and then, but it's not a main thing that affects the game, at least from how I see it right now. But we'll have even more data after LVO.
Yeah. So initiative for me, my favorite thing about this whole thing was the removal of scouting. I like the scouting step. I did not like equipment was a part of it. The initiative roll system is a big nothing burger. I have never played a game so far that it's come into play. Giacomo's won twice. I've won twice, pretty much every time. I can see it coming into play for those people who are like, get on Reddit and get really upset that they've lost every single initiative roll at an event. That won't happen now. You
have to win if you're going to get,
you're going to get one. You're usually, I won't say always, you're pretty much going to get one initiative for the game at minimum, right? Yeah. Probably you're going to get 2. And I feel like that's kind of what they went with. Why not just remove this step and just make it chess, and make the first turning point matter? Score on the first turn, and then just like, if I go first on turn 1, you go first on turn 2, I don't know. I think that it's okay, but overall, I'd probably give it like a 7 out of 10 too. I don't think it was a knockout of the park, but I think it's an improvement. It's an improvement.
Nice. We you guys covered on it, talked about it a little bit, that you said didn't know how the meta was going to shake out and who you thought may come out on top here at LVO 25 round 2. But if you had to point your baseball bat to the grandstands and you had to call your shot, what teams do you think are looking real spicy?
It's difficult.
I agree. It's anyone's game. And we're going to see.
So sometimes, as an organizer doing this for so long, I can look at the top 20 players and be like, one of these teams is probably going to win. One of these 20 people is probably going to win. I think the last LVO, with Sammy winning was one of the first times that our really large event was taken down by somebody who was very much not in like that top 20 pool.
A known quantity.
Quantity, right? So I kind of have an unfair advantage of kind of guessing, but not everyone's factions is in. So that also gives me less of an advantage. I think Felgor are very good right now because flank is really ambiguous. And I think that they score 2 points while flanking, even while dead. So they can kind of score a lot on tac op. Retrieve is also kind of broken, so Canoptic can kind of brain dead score between 3 and 5 points always. And if one of their models die, they can just have a model come up and grab it. I think Martyrs is a trap. There's a couple other teams like Hierotek Circle, who's actually really decent with that currently, with Martyrs currently, because they can die on an objective and then have their dead body score Martyr. And then they can die again and drop another mark.
Yeah. The podcast listeners will miss the hard eye roll you had there.
Yeah, abuse it while you can,
Yeah, I'm sure that'll be changed. It just seems abusive. But maybe it won't. Who knows? I think it's difficult because we don't know. I think Raveners are pretty good, but you have to be a better player now because you can't just take Dominate into every team. And we're probably going to see a lot of Death Watch, which means Dominate. I played Raveners in our most recent battle report against Raveners versus Death Watch. And I was like, I'm not going to take Dominate because I'm not going to kill a lot of dudes.
Yeah.
It's a great into hordes, but I think hordes are better because of crit ops. I think the crit ops are favorite. That's why we saw Wormblade do so well, right?
Yeah.
Because they're really efficient at the crit op. So if you can kind of find a team that's really good, I think personally, man, not gonna lie, I think Chaos Cults. If I had to take, I don't think anyone's gonna play them, but if I was playing competitively, I'd be playing Sanctifiers and I'd be playing Chaos Cult because I love hordes. I like melee. So if I had to choose one of the two, I'd probably say one of those.
I think that's a
all right, Giacomo.
Pretty safe choice. I have 3 that I believe can probably do it. One of them is Brood Brothers because they still really haven't been touched and they were still amazing, right? I just think people might have gotten bored of them, but they're still incredible. I think the Canoptic Circle, they have an interesting thing. They can do certain tac ops well. They play the crit op fine, but they also have mobility. And this kind of goes like Canoptic / Raveners because they can kind of ignore the terrain that might get in your way. And you're like, who needs to breach? I can just teleport or go under it, right? Who needs that, right?
Been on the receiving end of that.
Exactly. So you're just like, you can just do it if you need it. And you can make this really complicated move and figure it out. And your opponent's not going to see it because you might not have seen it. But if you figure it out, it gets you 2-3 extra points you need at the end of the game. And then I don't think they're maybe the most competitive, but I think Deathwatch just has a lot of raw power that if you're not quite sure how to take them out, they will shoot most people out / melee them out in the game before the top players really have a chance to go over it. And then as a bonus, Felgor. Yeah, Felgor. Yeah, they're coming back.
Good for the goats. All right. One last question for y'all here. So for folks that might be attending LVO as their first ever big Warhammer tournament, 3 days of Warhammer, what is your advice to them for the expectations? What should they prepare? What would you tell a person attending an event like that for the very first time?
I'll go with the easy ones first, then Dakotah can get into the more in-depth hard ones. Wear comfortable shoes.
Oh,
you're going to need that. You're going to need the comfortable shoes. Snacks is a huge one. Bring food. Food is kind of expensive, and if you have to leave the venue in Vegas, it's kind of hard to move around. I haven't seen this new expo and what they're going to have yet, so
supposedly there's a mall right next door.
Yeah, hopefully that's easy for you guys. But either way, I would just say bring some Nutri-Grain bars, some snack bars, bananas. You're gonna need the potassium and drink water, and just expect yourself to have a good time. Don't go with I'm gonna take I'm taking this golden ticket. I'm going to Worlds. Go in with try to go positive. That's an easy goal, right? Or make a friend. Maybe that's your goal. It's easy.
For me, I'd say manage your expectations. Right. My very first LVO that I went to, I was going to win. Right. And my team broke at a very unspecial time against one of my friends, now friends, Alec Berryman. He was a monster back in the day. And it just ruined my chances. I tied for 8th and I didn't make top 8 pod.
Oh.
And even though I was like number 1 in the event until that singular moment, right? And it broke me. I was so mad that we came back the next day and then I placed like 2nd or 3rd, right? But like in the secondary event when all the sharks weren't there. But I knew that if I got into that top pod, I was going to do wonderful things, but I didn't make it. And, sometimes that's going to happen, you could go in being the big fish in your area, and that's not necessarily the case. What you should do is go to the event, do the best you can, play the best game you can. And if you get beat, be happy that you played the best you could. And if you made a mistake, try to improve upon it. This is going to be the place that you're going to learn the most. Also, go there knowing that every single person there is a person just like you. They love this game. They love the lore. Maybe. Not always. Some people are just there for the competitiveness. Yeah. Jimmy Kelly. But go there and try to make friends. All these people are there. They all have the exact same things. Don't be an introvert, right? Go there, talk to people, have fun, make friends from across the pond. Candy Roll Crit's going to be there. There's going to be a bunch of content creators there. Go there for the experience. Go there to have fun because we're going to make sure you have fun, unless you get too up in here, right? I think that a mindset of going and just playing your best game is going to be the best outcome that you could really hope for as a player, and just be there to experience it. If this is the first and the last time that you're ever able to make LVO, maybe you've been saving up for a long time. That's awesome. We would love to host you and make sure that you have the best time. And if you don't have a good time, let us know.
Please.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're absolutely right on all those points. It's all about the expectations you set. If you set expectations, you're going to win every game. I mean, only one person gets to do that. Set expectations for, having a good time. Challenge yourself. Don't challenge yourself, in an unrealistic way. And accept what happens. Because dice are dice. You might be a monster of a player with just real bad luck that day. It has happened. But as long as you have fun, you're a real winner.
There you go.
You can't lose if you have fun. Tell that to your opponent as they absolutely demolish you, shut you out. But I had fun.
You might be the best player in the world, but if there's a record player that's rolling all 6s,
it's Vegas, baby.
Focus
Vegas, baby.
Yeah. Focus on the things that you can control as a human being. You can control your attitude. You can control your paint job. You can control how you interact with people, right? You can control those things. You can control how many friends you make at the event, right? You can't really control dice. It's going there to have fun and doing the best you can and, hoping that you get to top 8. Out of 120 players, that's a really good accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
That's top 10%. Mm-hmm. That's like going to a third event and getting the top 3. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, take lozenges too. You're going to be talking a lot, and your mouth is going to get dry.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
lozenges for sure. Please.
And the water thing is huge too. Yes. You got to drink water.
You will cramp. Yes, I've done that many times where I did not do that, and you will cramp.
And it's so. It's almost a little embarrassing to come home from like a Warhammer event and, I'll crawl into bed with my wife and I'll be like, oh my God, I'm so sore. And I'm like, all I've done is stand and roll dice. I've not done anything athletic. I haven't run. I haven't, played a sport. I was just, hunched over, rolling dice, like, oh, my knees, my back. It doesn't make me really feel like a real tough man. I'll tell you that for free. Oh man, this is awesome. Thank you guys so much for having me on the podcast. I cannot wait to be at LVO in just a few days now, to meet y'all in person and get in some games. Going to hopefully try to get some games in on the casual game day, and then of course Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm going to be there playing in the big competitive event. So if you see me, I know I'm not Dakotah or Giacomo, but
you're Dan.
I write for Goonhammer. That's pretty cool too.
It is super
please
cool.
Say hi. I'd love to say hi to people. I'd love to have fans in a fan club. But I'm really excited to see everyone at LVO and meet some awesome people and have a fantastic time.
Hell yeah.
I love that.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
We can do some outros here. Giacomo, you got some? I got a few things.
Sure, I'll do my quick shout outs. If you can join the conversation by either getting on our Discord, that's the Squad Games Discord, or by leaving a comment if you're watching this on YouTube. Let us know what you think about LVO. Are you going to go to LVO? Are you thinking about going maybe in the future? Has this inspired you to come? Do you read Goonhammer? If you haven't, you can now. You know about it. Yeah.
You should. It's neat.
It is neat. I've read a bunch of Goonhammer before I started doing this. So,
Be still my heart.
Yeah. It was one of the main guys who did 40K. So you could check that out. On top of that, the things for LVO, we do have a social that's going to be on Thursday. If you want to jump in on that, it's a little more casual event. It's a way for us to help fundraise some more things that we can do throughout the year. On top of that, we also have the Forge brush painting competition. So if you're not sure what that is, we're going to have notes for you here, but I'll give you a quick, brief overview. So it's a way for you to compete with your skills with the brush. So whether you're doing a single miniature or teams or one of the other categories, you can sign up for that as well. That's going to be linked in the description. You can also check it out on our website, squad-games.net. You'll see that as an option for purchase to get that ticket. We'll be doing that at LVO, so you can win a painting prize because, like myself, I'm not as good of a competitive player, but I compete with my brush. And that's my stuff.
So firstly, I want to shout out all the people that are helping us make this happen, right? We have Justin and Christina, who are locals to the LVO area. We have Giacomo and we have Saya. Those are both tournament organizers. Giacomo is the head of the stream, and Saya is the head of the store and the narrative. We have Robert Nichols, who is going to be our Inquisitor judge, our rules judge there. He will smite those who misplay rules. We also have Mike and Steven as competitive judges alongside of me. And then also our guest streamer is going to be Marty. He streamed last year and we're very pleased to have him back. Giacomo always does that once per stream.
I forget it happens.
Love the fireworks.
I forget it happens.
You forget it happens.
If you guys would like to support the show, right, we do have Highlander Hobbies here. If I could move this, there it is. This are the brush set that I designed, and Giacomo and Saya helped me make these. We have quite a lot of them still here, so go ahead and pick these up. They will be debuted at the very first time at a very large event. We are hoping that these become a smash hit in the miniature scene. Right? I've been painting for years, and this is the perfect brush set for my price range and for what they can do. Giacomo painted that model with them. Yeah, very, very, very good. And then also we have a couple other things that I would like to shout out. We have some brand new dice. The dice that we have here is going to be, ignore Giacomo in this. This is our Instagram.
Honestly, I forgot I was on the cover for one of them.
We have brand new dice. You will be able to purchase these dice after Las Vegas Open. We want to sell these to the people that are coming to Las Vegas first. And then this is also the Squad Games tournament circuit. For anyone that doesn't know what that is, it is a tournament circuit that we are running that ends at the Las Vegas Open. If you guys are interested in joining and becoming a TO for the Squad Games tournament circuit in your area, we're going to be giving out discounts to our store, so you can get price support, and also offering price support to other people from Squad Games, including some other stuff. And then you kind of run events with the same kind of mindset. And you guys want to find out more about that, we'll do other podcast episodes on that in the future. You can also check it out on squad-games.net, where we have a lot more information under tournament circuit. But Dan, thank you very much for coming on. Very much appreciate
so much for
it.
having me.
You're a wonderful guest, and very excited to read more of your stuff and support you at Goonhammer.
Yes.
Normally I see Travis's stuff, but I've been following you for quite some time on this kill team, just seeing where you're gonna land. I hope you enjoy the event.
It is a fun little journey. I'm sure it will be only filled with victory and winning and me making smart decisions. And at no point will I get my ass kicked. I'm calling it right now.
I love it. So that's going to be it from us. Until next time, everyone.
See ya.
Adios.
The Squad Games Podcast is a production of Squad Games Entertainment. For more information on Squad Games, please visit our website at squadgames.net or check out our YouTube channel at Squad Games Entertainment.